appreciate everybody for checking in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, bell icon button. We in the building. And I couldn't get to the reaction game after the game. I had some other shit lined up, but yeah, I did watch the majority of the game. I kind of really missed what David Fales really did. I see he got in there in the first half and then some in the second half, but let's talk about it, man. I do appreciate everybody for checking into the channel. Just keep sharing the videos. It's the best way to donate, help the channel out. And if you haven't, hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, and you won't miss another video live stream. I'll probably go live tomorrow. I got a couple things lined up, but I'll probably squeeze it in sometime tomorrow. But let's talk. Let's talk about what happened last night, and we can start off with Matthew Stafford. I kind of touched on like the first half, little synopsis. Stafford looked good. He looked healthy. He looked lean. He looked trim. He looked nimble. Arm looked good. He looked good. You know, the offense. I do have my concerns, and my biggest concern is the interior offensive line. I heard Frank Ragnow some optimism that his injury may not be that serious, but it was a lot of free runners coming up the middle. Yep, it was a lot of free runners. I don't know if that was, you know, I don't know by design. I don't know if they were trying to do something that didn't work, but it don't. And I don't expect the Lions to show their real hand as far as what they gonna do. But things I did like is the ball thrown to Kerryon Johnson out the backfield. The ball thrown to the Johnson kid out of Maryland out the backfield for the touchdown. I like seeing that Darrell Bevel is making an adjustment, saying, I got running backs that can catch the ball out the backfield. I can make that adjustment to my offense, because when Peterson, Marshawn Lynch, they didn't really catch the ball out the backfield. You know what I'm saying? On the Bevel like that. Him being able to show that flexibility, I like that. But the line, counting some free rushers coming in, you can do things to nullify that. Rushers coming up the middle with the guards, you can help the guards off. Even though that's the quickest way to the quarterback, the playing interior lineman ain't that fucking hard. All right, I'm not saying that it's easy, but the tackles are tougher. If you solidify that tackle and you solidify that center, which they is, regardless, with or without Frank Ragnow, they're solidified at tackle. They started from last year is the right guard right now. Now he'd be the starter. Graham Glasgow, it's great to have a good backup right there. So I'm not really that concerned, especially if Ragnow injury not that bad. He'll be back in a couple weeks, or you know, by the second or third week of the season. I think we can funk sway with that. So I'm not really, you know, like DEFCON 33,000, because Glasgow is going to solidify that center spot, and the guard we just figured out as we go. But I was concerned with the inability to run the ball a little bit. I don't expect them to run all they traps and whams and power plays and pulls. I don't expect them to show their array of rushing attacks at all. I just didn't expect it. So, but I was kind of concerned they wouldn't have some success. I know Anderson had a really good run. I know, you know, they had a few good runs here and there. But it's always kind of like, damn, you know, the running game don't look as good as it could. I know it's preseason. I'm not overreacting. I'm just pointing out the fact that I think it could be more effective. But I think you're gonna see the real rushing plays come week one. But that's the problem though, man, with the Lions, is that we haven't been able to put the ball in the end zone for one on a consistent basis. And what I wanted to point out first, we haven't been able to rush the ball on a consistent basis. So with Bevel, I'm hoping that we get some good, you know, holes open up, and Anderson and Kerryon is a good 1-2 punch. Then that kind of it kind of takes the magnifying glass off of the offensive line, because you know, if they're able to run the ball, then rushers don't know if it's a run, especially if you're doing draws and delays, or it's a pass, and that kind of slows down the pass rush. So there's ways to slow down the pass rush. So you can move the pocket, you can have them roll out on the bootlegs. I mean, so it's not the worst case scenario. Your worst case scenario is not having a good left tackle. You know, that's the worst case scenario. But Stafford, arm looked electric. I think Marvin Jones caught a ball. I think I'm gonna love that T.J. Stafford to Hawkinson connection. That might end up being a motherfucking Xbox or PS5 they coming out next week, whatever they call it, in Xbox One next year. That might be somebody's gamer tag. Stafford to Hockenson. That looked like it's going to be an effective. Hockenson, let me talk about him for a minute. Hockenson looked like he way more athletic than they gave him credit for. And that's what I noticed on film about him at Iowa. The way he came in and out of breaks, I mean, he had a little blocking penalty, I think it was yesterday, again, where they said he was a hold. It wasn't that much. I seen it as it happened. I was like, yeah, they going to call it. But he is a little sleek, stealth-looking motherfucker, man. The way he catch the ball, he just look explosive. I'm sorry. You know, most people may not agree. He just look explosive. Maybe I don't expect that athletic ability out of him coming in and out of breaks, but he looked good, man. He had the little drop that hit his hand, you know, on the, you know, Stafford was getting rushed. I don't really count that. I think Jesse James had one that was similar, but Hockenson looking good coming out of breaks. And we've seen that Matthew Stafford trust his target, Hockenson, more than he ever trusted already, in my opinion. Ebron and Pettigrew and whoever else he had. And also it helps when you got an offensive coordinator that know how to utilize the tight ends. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say that. But overall, offensive line, some concerns. And the running game is always going to be a concern until it manifests in the season. But Stafford looked good, you know. Arm looked electric, looked comfortable in the offense. Looked like they're going to try to spread it out a little bit. Or that's what they did last night. I think part of it was they spread it out for Matthew Stafford to get into a rhythm. That may not necessarily be what they primarily run, but though, you know, I think you'd be looking for more heavy and tight sets with two tight ends and stuff when the season comes. But Amendola looked good too. He looked explosive. He looked like he knew what he doing sitting down, you know, sitting down in zones and looking good on that wheel route. So, yeah, I really don't have no concerns about the passing game in this offense. You know, not looking how healthy Stafford looked and how slim and just thin he looked. His arm looked really stronger than ever last night. So offensively, other than the line, the injuries, and I'll get to more injuries, in the running game, just until it really manifests into hopefully what it should be, I don't have no concerns. Defensively, you know, just gap control. Like I said, I was looking for the other night. Shady McCoy got a couple runs that got took back through a holding call. And Frank Gore had a good run, and Tracy Walker was out of pocket when he hit Frank Gore when he was on the line. But it's hard to tell a player that's, you know, playing to prove to be a starter and that's young, that's going 1,000 miles an hour to slow down. So a lot of people just don't understand, man. You just looking to, it's hard to slow down that type of player. But other than that, I see Matt Patricia was talking to Darius Slay about something on the side. I'm a little bit ignorant to that situation, but other than that, I mean, Jared Davis going down. I don't know. It didn't look good for him. I haven't heard nothing, so that ain't good. Patricia said they don't know much right now. But for Davis, I don't really look at that as a huge blow. I'm sorry. He just, to me, I mean, he's supposed to be this big jump here. He just, you know, he ain't that good to me, dog. You know, he'd be a guy that I just use to blitz from the middle, maybe come off the edge a little bit, but he couldn't do shit for me. He couldn't tackle, he couldn't cover, he couldn't plug the run, but he did get better last year when they got a better D-line in front of him. But their real D-lineman was in last night. They made some plays up front, but the Jelani Tavai area, Jared Davis real injured and started. And like I said before, if you asked me which injury was more significant, it was Ragnow by a country fucking mile. You know, I just ain't that. Davis, you know, every year he supposed to work on something, get better. He just don't do shit good as a linebacker. He's just a fast linebacker. That's it. He don't cover. He gave up that wheel route against Zeke for the Cowboys to defeat us last year. He always is on the ground, tying people's shoelaces, not delivering the wood. I just wasn't a big fan. But if he had took a jump this year, that is a death blow. But defensively, they looked solid last night. Josh Allen threw a pick and got took back because of Christian Jones' stupid penalty. And they had a couple stupid like penalties and personal foul penalties on the defense, and they got to clean that up, man. Christian Jones, it was no point in him doing that. I don't think he played all preseason, but you a veteran player, and you a guy that we might need you to play some middle linebacker because he can. So we got to see Daniels out there, some of the D linemen out there moving well. I really don't know what's going on with Deshaun Hand. We definitely gonna need him. He was a top Pro Football Focus guy for people that's in the deep analytics, but defense looked solid last night. They gave up, you know, just here and there, but it looked solid, especially to knock off the rush. I'm not concerned about the defense. Week one, this will be a lot of A-gap blitzes. This is kind of where you probably would miss Jared Davis, his speed to run down or spy on Kyler Murray, but I'd be blitzing the fuck out of Kyler Murray. If I have to, I'll bracket Larry Fitzgerald in the slot. And if them other motherfuckers can beat me on the outside, that's be what it is. But injuries were significant last night for Ragnow and the LSU corner for the Bills, Tre'Davious White. The one that Gronk hit a cheap shot on, he said the whole hood want Gronk. So hopefully he get better, man. I ain't got shit against the Bills, nothing against Tre'Davious White. I liked him at LSU, like him at Buffalo. So hopefully he get better. Hopefully Ragnow here, this injury may not be as bad as it looked. He really didn't put no weight on that right leg, whatever it was. But we have to see. But Jared Davis, his injury looks significant. But Lions, we'll find out a month later, like we did with Agnew last year. We all thought Agnew was done. This motherfucker come back at the end of the season. But overall, our special teams, they looked pretty solid last night. I didn't see nothing bad about them. And then it looked like Josh Johnson, he looked a lot better this week. He might have sold up that backup quarterback position behind, with maybe Stafford or 21-21 Savage, which is another injury. We haven't heard much about 21-21 Tom Savage. And I know he had multiple concussions in a period of time where he may retire or he may not retire. But they may end up carrying 3 quarterbacks. They might end up carrying 3 or 4 tight ends. So roster, they only had 1 cut this year. It used to be multiple cuts. It's 1 big cut this year. So we'll see who'll make the team. We'll see for like the 6th or 7th consecutive year or something like that. If a undrafted player makes the Detroit Lions as well. So yeah, it is what it is. I tried to go live earlier at the park, but something was going on with my connection. But yeah, man, I'm psyched for the season. I especially after seeing Stafford look good, and he in really, really good shape, man. And that arm is very, real electric right now, man. So he look good. He ain't got nothing else to prove. I think they got to work on some things as far as if we gonna have messed up offensive linemen, interior line out. We're gonna be, decimated in the interior lineman position, the guard, center, or they may not just be that good even if they're healthy. Then they got to work on moving the pocket. They got to work on some counter plays and stuff. But if your offensive line, if your guards can get up there and run block, then I think that's a huge thing. If they can run the ball, that line won't be bad because you keeping pass rushers honest, and they got to play the run at all times. So we'll see, man. I'll see what Darrell Bevel got up his sleeve. But they did lose. They 0-3 in the preseason. I don't care. They was 4-0. They was 4-0 at one point. And they went 0-16. So I don't. Maybe we 0-4. We go 16-0 and win the Super Bowl, right? But hey, Motor City Sports Talk. Appreciate everybody for checking in. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out to the email if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request. Keep sharing the videos. Appreciate the love, support. And check them out the channel, Wild Goodfellas Sports TV. If you got a video request, hit me up. If you're on Twitter, I'll comment back. I know somebody tweeted me last night and get a chance. When I park, when I get where I'm getting at, I'm gonna hit you back, man. I seen a tweet, man. I think it was Lord Lennox. But I appreciate the love, support. Keep sharing the videos. One time for one time. Y'all know what the business is. We gone.